Okay, we're rolling.
Okay, my name is Emilio Williams. I worked at Sunbus 28 years. I retired like 6 years ago, more or less. And I was a little bit devastated with some of the benefits and retirement that they supposedly have for us, including minus Social Security. After about a year or so working there, when I first started, they did away with putting money into Social Security. The word was from coworkers, elder coworkers, said that they was going to put like 25 cents into our pocket. And I told them, hey, no. It's all wrong. So we need to put money into Social Security. It's a trust fund. And made way back during the Roosevelt administration. For those people that got injured, sick, unable, or reach a certain age, they will have a little something and they won't get like that happened during the Depression. And this company, this union, came up with this wonderful idea, but it was against the workers. It was against the workers. And how do you get benefits from Medicare when you have no money on the trust fund in Social Security? How is a guy, boy or girl, young woman or young man going to make it without no money in Social Security? See, Social Security has a big range of things, and without that, it's going to be hard to make, and then you get penalized. You get penalized on Social Security for not putting that money. And Social Security is my pension. They tax you. I mean, not Social Security, but the state and federal tax you. So you get a little bit of pension, plus you're being taxed, on that pension. See, no matter what they say you're going to get, you got to pay taxes, And I'm asking myself, it's not that great of a pension. See, you get a pension, but you don't get Social Security. Other people, I understand that, or other jobs I had before, if you work for any place, anybody, any place, you get Social Security money put aside. So when you do retire, or get injured, or sick, or you die, there's Social Security money for the family, the spouse, and the kids to carry on. But if you're not putting money into Social Security, you ain't got nothing. If you're a family man, own a home, car, dog, and cat, whatever. And so I don't think it's right. Humanely, I don't think it's right. See, they're doing that to the workers at Sunbus. You work all this time, all these years, and you really don't get that much back. Why is other companies paying more than our company? And we're supposed to be professionals, retrained, real good, but yet we're not making the money or the pension and benefit that we're entitled. As long as you work for the company, you're okay, but the minute you step out and retire or quit or get fired, you're in big trouble. See? And then to start all over again, finding a job that does put money in Social Security, it's heartbreaking. It really is, honestly. So it's a hard-working person. You work all these years thinking you're going to have something at the end of the rainbow, when in reality, you are not. You're not. And maybe that's why all these other people are protesting, And because you're well trained, you might as well take that training and go work for somebody that does put money into Social Security and has a decent pension. So you can put that together and have something decent when you do retire, Otherwise, at Sunbus, you're only going to get a pension, but you're not going to get Social Security because the company's not putting money into Social Security. So how do you pay for the insurance? How do you pay for the taxes, property tax, food and shelter and gasoline, with a little bitty pension money? you know, monthly, and no benefits for health care and welfare. If you get sick, say you get cancer or need open heart surgery, who's going to pay for that? You know, or your kids or your wife. They get a serious illness like that and wind up in the hospital. Who's going to pay for that if you don't have Social Security? And that's what I'm talking about. Let alone the wages, but without a decent pension plan for the hereafter, when you retire, it's going to be real hard. You know, you can try to pay off your home, pay off your automobile, pay off your bill, and somehow budget yourself so the little money you get in from the pension is to survive. You know, but God forbid if you get sick, you know, and you wind up going to a doctor in the hospital, you know, they can wipe you out. You might have to sell your house and your car. See, that's what I'm saying. It's a sad thing, you know. It's a sad thing that it's like that. You know? Especially if you're an American citizen, especially if you serve your country in the armed services, especially if you're a veteran, you know, you're out of luck with this company. You're really out of luck, see? And you're just working for them, but you're not really getting the benefits you're entitled to, especially if you work a long time. If you work a short time to get you over a hump and use that knowledge to go get you some third job, you're better off. Like a truck driver or something like that, with a pension. But it's real hard nowadays, you know, especially with the pandemic. If one of you gets sick with a virus and wind up in the hospital, you know, if you don't have a proper pension, you know, and need surgery, stuff like that, what are you going to do? See, and like that. There have been instances where Social Security does help you out because you don't have all that, but you might wind up losing your home or your real estate, things like that, because they need to replenish that money that they put out if you don't have Social Security. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's all the way around real bad.
Oh, no, es por ellos.
Número uno.
So, over the years, we did pay into Social Security at one time.
At the beginning, I think it was a year when I first started. When they came up with this idea, the union and the company came with this wonderful idea. But I was away when I came back, the deal was done. They had agreed on this thing. And later on, checking with Social Security is called windfall and government pension offset. Windfall, yeah. That means no money is going to Social Security. And you're out of luck.
So I know years ago you used to explain the windfall, and people would not pay no attention. As I now try to understand the windfall that you were talking about many years when you worked here at Sunline, I want to understand that. How does that work with a windfall when you get a little pension at Sunline, and then you got no Social Security, and then you get hit with a windfall if you did have a prior job to Sunline? How does that work?
Yeah, well, when you were putting money into Social Security, and you got your statement from Social Security saying money was going in, you're okay. Once the company and the union came to agreement of not putting money in Social Security and saying that it was a great benefit to us, well, that was a lie. That was a big old lie. Because
would they give you a quarter raise?
Yeah, they said they were going to give us a quarter raise by word of mouth. Everything was word of mouth. So later on, when I went to Social Security to ask them that question, said no. Once you stop putting money in Social Security, and they gave me a statement of earnings. This is all you earn, and now you're not earning nothing. So when you do retire at 62, 66, or 70, you're only gonna get money that you put in. See, you're only going to get that money put in, and that's how the windfall government pension offset works. And then you're going to be taxed. You're taxed by the state and the federal. See, really. And the more you make, well, the more taxes you're going to pay. See, like that.
So
And
what would be the average person that puts in 25 years or 30 years at Sunline? What would be the average pay that? I know Ray York talked about he was only getting $800 a month and renting a studio from a room for rent, and he couldn't even afford to pay his cell phone. Rest in peace, Ray York. He put over 20 years. So I just want your personal input. What do you believe that 25, 30 years of service here at the agency can possibly give us?
I have my pension right here, and I put 28 years at Sunbus. I put 28 years, and I'm only getting 1,900 a month. That's a month, and I'm paying taxes for the federal, $131 for the federal and $14 for the state. That leaves me $1,773 put in the bank for my needs, for whatever needs I have to sustain myself a month. That's how much I get from Sunbus pension, under $2,000. Mm-hmm. You tell me.
For how many years of service?
28 years of service.
Wow.
28 years of service. You're better off working at the country club, where there's a union in the country club. There's a union, they got a pension, and they got Social Security. No special skills at the country club.
So do you believe that all those years of service that you put there, that you should at least have medical for life?
Yeah, that too.
That would save a big expense on your medical
Yeah.
bills.
Yeah, because out of that, you got to deduct for insurance. I'm lucky I got a decent insurance. That's really good, but they deduct it out of my Social Security. I have barely over the line on my Social Security, but those guys, they didn't put nothing. They started real young here at the company, some in their 20s or 30s.
Like myself.
They're not going to have that. How they pay when they get at that age, how they're going to pay Social Security. See, how they're going to get an insurance that collects from the Social Security to have a decent pension. See, like that. So it's all the way around bad. Because Social Security, if you get a pension, like this one right here, you get a pension from Inner Valley, that's a good insurance. They deduct it from your Social Security, Inner Valley.
And how did you get that insurance? On your own?
No, through my co-workers, they advised me that this insurance was real good compared to other insurance, Kaiser Permanente and what was the other, Scan and the other ones. They tried all those insurance, and they came out with Inner Valley insurance. And so I got on it. I like what they said, so I got on it. And I'm still on it. And they took me real good. Just like I was in the military. See, unbelievable.
So what do you think now? Your 1,700 take home with the cost of inflation. What does your dollar really mean? I mean, as far as inflation, gas prices, food prices, electricity bill, gas bills, all these bills going up. So your retirement pension, do you get an increase, a cost of living increase on your pension, or no?
No, stays the same.
See?
And here's another thing I almost forgot. On the pension, they tell you two things. They ask you two things. Hey, you want us to how do you want your pension? I said, what you got to offer? He said, well, we can extend your pension for over 20 years, but it'd be a reduced pension. But you can give you the Mexican pension of what I'm getting right now, but it's only good for 20 years. This pension here, the one I got here, it's only good for 20 years. See, this money is going to become, it's locked in for 20 years. After 20 years, no more pension.
No more pension after
No more
20 years?
pension after 20 years. And this one, because I thought, well, shoot, if I got this money coming to me, I'm gonna have the large amount, not the small amount, like half, for longer, for 30 years, you know.
Oh, so you chose, you chose to have more money.
More money coming in.
But less years.
For less years. And this other money, it goes to a savings account to earn, what, 1% interest? You know, like that. So you have to do a lot of math. If you don't do the math, you're going to be up the creek. Like that. So I'll say it again. This pension is only good for 20 years. And I'm getting the maximum I can get. Had I asked for the other side of the pension for a longer time, but less money, it don't work. Because we need the money. And when I retired, I didn't know all those things going to happen. Coronavirus going to happen. All this gasoline was going to shoot sky high. And price of living was going to raise that much. I had to do and get the help of other people help me do the math, you know, like that. Because I didn't know inflation was going to be skyrocketing. But now I'm trying to take care of myself as much as possible and don't go to the hospital, you know, like that. And try to enjoy whatever I got left. But this money's only good for 20 years. So I'm going to try to enjoy this money while I can, you know, because after 20 years, and I already been retired about 6 years, I got about 15 years left, of money coming in, this kind of money coming in. After that, there's no more.
So after the 20 years, it's done.
Uh-huh.
So if you make it past 20 years in life, you worked all those years for it to just go down the drain.
Yeah.
No more money.
I got a little money because I was in the military and had another job. They were putting money into Social Security. And I'm glad I went to Social Security to try to let them break it down. How would I be from point A to point B? And they helped me tremendously how to figure this thing out, you know. Because without their help, I would have been in real bad shape right now. See? So like they say, try to have your car, your property all paid up when it's time to retire, because once you retire, it's going to be real hard. And then if you do like me, go for the 20 years and get the maximum amount you're coming, after 20 years, it ends, everything. But if you have for lesser amount, it can go longer. See? So,
You have an average number of what it would have been if you would have taken the 30 years? Is this an agreement that the ATU has made with Sunline?
no, this had to do with U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank and some of us, I imagine. But
So let me ask you this. So over the years and union contracts that we've negotiated, how do you feel that we've done or accomplished with ATU? Do you believe that they're a strong unity, a strong group, or do you feel that all those years we really got the short end of the stick?
we got the short end of the stick big time, because over there in L.A. and Riverside, they have a different pension plan than we do. If you look it up, they're always talking about the retirees over there and get-togethers and meetings. Their retirement plan is way different than some of us. We got the short end of the stick big time compared to them. Check with anybody in Riverside, San Bernardino County. You know, their transit company. And why is that? They belong to the same union, and theirs is better than us over here in the desert. See? Like that.
Maybe they have a sweetheart deal with Sunline.
Could be.
Trying to, because they give us a raise and they find a way to take it. What about this 3% that we have to contribute now to the retirement? That, before we didn't have to pay medical. Sunline picked up the bill for you or your family. They used to pay it, and now they don't pay it. So that's a deduction for our pay. And they'll give you a couple dollar raise, but they'll take it in another way. So they kind of manipulate your money.
Yeah, they're real good at that. They're real good. That's why they sent their kids to school to be good mathematicians. But so you have to stay ahead of the ball game a little bit and do some research as to why are things the way they are. They're not getting any better. If this company is in a position that some of those workers are quitting and going somewhere else, that tells you that something is wrong. It's not as popular as it was. So whatever was said, it doesn't jive no more. It doesn't jive no more what's going on, especially if people have a lot of needs, especially if people got family members that got sick, or had a household that got sick, and they got behind on their payments. And they did a little research and checked their insurance, and maybe that's how they've been able to find out the things, and they're not what they said they were going to be or are. See, so that's a lot of frustration.
So in the years of service, since I've been working here, 25 years, and you've been working here, what was it? I mean, do you see the big turnaround back then? It was hard to get a job here if you didn't know somebody.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, it's like people can't give the job away.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, my opinion is it's full of negativities. If a person starts to ask questions, hey, how about this retirement? How about this pension? How about the line of progression? How is it going to be? And now at this point, there's a lot of coworkers, that have passed away. They have passed away, and other coworkers try to get their spouse the proper insurance from the company, and they're into a lot of red tape and problems. Some of them probably have to get lawyers to get the benefits for their deceased spouse, like that. See? From heart attacks to cancer and stuff like that, and those are serious illness. And their loved ones are running into a lot of problems, and hey, wait a minute, this ain't right. Why do we have to go to all those things instead of saying, look, my husband is sick. I'd like to get an okay on this thing. I got a lot of papers to sign. Where do I take him? What hospital will they take him in? Going back. All my previous drivers ahead of me, a lot of them are dead. Yeah, they were dead. So when it came to me to retire, they asked me if I wanted a little bit more for last time and a little bit less for more time. I said, no, I'll take the bigger amount, because I feel like all those guys died ahead of me, and you can count. That's a lot of guys. Like
They never got to enjoy it.
Yeah, they didn't get to enjoy it.
So do you think that if we had a better retirement, people would have retired like at 10 years of service or 15 years of service when they were young enough, opposed to having to go to 65, 70 to retire? And how many years left do you have after that?
That's right.
So
See?
you never got to enjoy life.
Yeah, all those guys ahead of me died pretty young.
Richard Samuels, Lee, Mike Cohen, a lot of them never even got to retire.
Yeah. See? Like that. Within a few years after retirement. Boom.
So do you think if you didn't plan and do your research, do you believe that you probably would have still been working at Sunline? You would have, because you wouldn't have been able to afford to retire based on the years of service. I mean, you got all your ducks in order, but most of us don't have that and don't understand that. They understand that we get X amount of dollars, but they don't understand that they hit us on the back end
where actually your money ends up being less in 2018 to now, looking at your check and it's the same, but you got a few dollars more, but they find a way to, now you got to contribute 3% to your retirement. Also, you pay for your own medical. I mean, there's multiple drivers leaving. We lost like 20 drivers.
See?
When did that happen in the years you were here? It was hard to get in.
It was hard to move up. A lot of guys trying to get in here, and like he was talking about the number. When you start adding the numbers, it doesn't jive. So okay, I already retired like 6 years, so I got like 14 more years to go, and this money's gonna run out. You know, this money's gonna run out for the pension in 14 years. So from this money, like the whole windows, I gotta put a little money on the side for the time that this is run out. I got a little nest egg. If I don't, I'll be messed up. See, like that. And right now I got a good insurance, you know, holding me up together. See, but there's guys that haven't had time to think, because they're working real hard, trying to maintain, working little overtime to make ends meet. But when you come to the end of the tunnel, or God forbid you get hurt or injured or get sick, and then what? See, there's a lot of rumors, there's a lot of problems of like that with this company, you know, as far as insurance, you know, is concerned. It's not that great anymore.
Yeah, that's why we want change.
Yeah.
That's why we want change. We want to build, make it a future, so you can, it'd be back like old times where it was hard to get in here unless you knew somebody. Remember you used to talk about that?
That's
right.
Right.
How did they get in here? Did they nail somebody?
Yeah. Their cousin was the foreman or lead man or head mechanic or something like that. And here's another thing. This change that took over, like I said, it was word of mouth. Not until we started getting a paycheck that, oh look, you got a quarter raise. Instead of going to Social Security, they said it went to a pocket, but then you get a quarter raise, then they raise the taxes. So where did you go? Where did you go? And now, if you have a little money in Social Security and you get money from the Social Security, they tax that too. They tax it.
You get hit with a windfall too, huh?
Yeah. You're not going to get all the money that you're hoping it would get. And right here in the bottom. Right here in the bottom. Right here in the bottom. Federal withholding taxes, $131. State withholding taxes, $14. That's every paycheck. See? Every paycheck? Yeah. Like that. So there you go. Where did you go? How far did you get? Like
Not very much.
Especially, and I had to go to Social Security all the time because I couldn't understand. And some people that already retired from other companies, and they could say, no, it's wrong. It's wrong what you're doing to us. You're not putting money on Social Security? Mm-mm. You know, if you go back and find out back in 29 when the Depression was on and Roosevelt took over, he made the Social Security for us, for people that couldn't afford, you know, life after they retired or got hurt or got injured.
I just don't know how Sunline got and the union got rid of paying into Social Security. How is it that they benefit from us not paying into Social Security? We've been asking the union, the ATU, Local 1277, for Social Security for us to put money, our own money, into Social Security, so we could be vested and have a little nest egg, but they seem to just blow us off. So what would you believe, in your heart, in your opinion, why they don't want us to contribute to Social Security?
I have no idea. They get plenty of grants. That's one thing I know. They get grants all the time. Grants for this and grants for that.
It could be maybe that if we did contribute to Social Security, maybe your checks would look smaller because they wouldn't be able to take our money to have to pay insurance and union dues, and so the check wouldn't look right. So they don't want to contribute to a Social Security on the back end, so that way you don't, lose hope, because you're all of a sudden, wait a minute, my check was this amount, and now we're paying in Social Security. I mean, it's not going to be much of a dent, but I think for the future of us, I think it should be changed for us to pay into Social Security. So if you put 20 years here, you got 20 years vested with Social Security. I mean, this way you don't have anything.
Mm-hmm. Like money in the bank.
Yeah.
If you don't put money in the bank, you ain't gonna get nothing back. Same thing with Social Security.
So how did you find out that it was not going to be good at the end of the tunnel?
Because I kept going to Social Security before I retired. I want to know, as a U.S. citizen, I want to know what my benefits were at Social Security. Mm-hmm. I want to know my benefits. So they gave me a paper saying, with a lot of numbers in there, and it was called then a statement of earning. From way back when I worked in the fields picking grapes to the present time, how much money I made a year. How much money a year. And then it was tabulated there on the middle of the thing, how much money I would get when I turned 62, 65, 66, and 70. See? So like that. So I chose to work longer because I had enough money to pay the Medicare or Medi-Cal card, otherwise I'll be no. So I chose that and put a little bit of the savings. But they told me, when you retire, man, you're gonna fall off the cliff because everything's gonna be cut in half, really, compared to what you're making right now. Everything. I said, wow, So I got good advice on Social Security as far as aligning myself like that.
So let me ask you this: had it been agreed upon with the ATU, like Riverside Transit, after 10 years or whatever it is, they give you medical for life after you retire? So do you believe that your ducks, you probably would have retired a little sooner if you would have had the medical where you didn't have to pay medical? You think that would be a good thing for people after 10 years when they retire to take the medical for life? That's a benefit, and that would help with your earnings and paying your bills, right?
No. That's why you got to go to Social Security and ask that question, because they're better equipped than I am to answer that question. Right now, full retirement age is 67 or 66. And some people want to retire at 62. Mm-hmm. But at 65, Medicare, Medi-Cal kick in. They send you those cards. Uh-huh. See? So how are you going to retire if you only work 10 years? Those 10 years got to coincide with your age. What age? You just going to say, okay, I work 10 years, I want, okay. It doesn't work like that. You got to be like 65, 62 or 65, and to go ask that question, am I entitled now? But you can go right now. Most of the Social Security paperwork is done with a computer. With a smartphone, you call Social Security and ask them, you got a couple of questions, and you can ask them, when can I retire? I've been working at some many years, I would like to know, and they're going to ask you all kinds of questions. They just don't answer to them because they got to know who you're talking to, what's your name, your address, your driver license, your birth certificate, and stuff like that. They're going to ask those questions. And you got to go down there, call them, because this office in Indio is closed. They only do by phone.
By phone?
By phone. See? And everything is digital. See? So you live over there in the northern area, you got to get a hold of them and ask them that question. But just to say, I'm going to work 10 years and retire, you got to be like 62 or 65.
Yeah, but as far as money, okay, yeah. So let's say somebody saved their coins and the only thing that, like Mike Cohen, that was kind of really preventing his wife's insurance, and he was hoping that when she was of age to be able to retire. But I think there was a few people that had the time in to retire, and they weren't going to get medical for another few more years, so they kept working and didn't make it. So had there been something in place that working at Sunline for 20 years, they say 20 years or 10 years. I mean, if you're the age to retire, and you got your ducks in a row, and we had medical for life when you retired, because we are a public agency. Riverside gives their employees, after 10 years of service, if you're old enough to retire and you want to retire, then you take the insurance with you. So medical insurance is very expensive, unless you're the age to get the medical insurance. But Riverside Transit, after 10 years, you're able to have your insurance when you retire. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that we're trying to change at Sunline. As far as pay has always been one thing, but I think retirement is the number one key factor for a lot of people that have paid their dues, to be able to retire and enjoy their life. You're enjoying your life, but you got it together as far as started planning. I mean, I didn't know, when you used to talk about it when I was young, I didn't care about retirement, I cared about money.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's such a balance that the money's not really going anywhere. I mean, it's the inflation, and your dollars and your retirement is not good. That's why people are leaving. So when I wanted to sit down and talk to you, I know you're pretty smart about the retirement, and you talked about it for many years, but we never paid attention. And now, I mean, we want that knowledge. In the years of service, in your opinion, has ATU been great to us? Or, I mean, in your opinion?
That's why I say you're better off contacting the Social Security office, and those paperwork I had from government pension offset and the windfall, I throw them all away. Like 2 or 3 years after I retired, because I had no need. I was just exhausted. I was just exhausted. And before I retired, remember those meetings we had at the union? I would take the paperwork and say, hey, what about this thing? Oh, we didn't know nothing about it. What? Yes, you did. Look, you want to know how come you guys are still not putting money in Social Security, but over there in Riverside, San Bernardino, their union, they're putting money in Social Security. We found out through their retirement program and the flyers that we get from over there. And why is that we're different over here than that? What kind of sweetheart deal was made to Sunline and Sunbus? You know, why is it like that? So I spent a lot of time in Social Security concerned how that retirement, by not putting money in Social Security, was going to affect me. So I got some real good advice from Social Security. You know, they got good advice, and they explained to me the windfall, the government pension offset, and they said, try to start saving money right now, because you're going to be messed up by the time you retire, and it looks like you're going to have to work a little bit longer to meet a certain criteria for Social Security. Now, what helped me that I worked when I was in the military, or my younger days, that helped me go over the red line for Medicare. And for this insurance, to deduct money from my insurance. You know, but I had worked before Sunbus. But this pension really messed me up. You know, it did. See, because I got to pay state and federal, but I have a little money left over for the Medicare. You know, when I got when I get sick and stuff like that. See?
And Medicare, Medi-Cal, that's expensive to.
No, it's not that expensive. It's just a little bit for whatever insurance you want to pick. It's up to you which one you like or which one is more benefit.
So that intervene, that's an insurance there?
Intervene.
Yeah.
See, like this one is in Palm Springs. They're gonna close that office. The office closes. They're out of Pomona. See? You know, that office out of Pomona, but it's for Valley Health Plan. See, North Valley Health Plan. October this month. See, like that. And it's got a few phone numbers here, and it's a great insurance. But the other people ahead of me, they retired, they advised me about this insurance, and it turned out to be a real good insurance. See? Like that. And they're out of Pomona. See? They're out of Pomona.
So let me ask you, in your opinion, I mean, if you were 21 years old right now, and you had a couple buddies of yours, and you guys were going to go get a job, and you wanted to invest in a job that you were going to be able to retire. If we don't put Social Security, if they tell you straight out, we're not paying you into Social Security, you're not going to pay into Social Security here, you're not going to, you're just going to have a regular pension of what their pension. Would you recommend? Would you start working here and invest 30 years, or your buddies?
No, because as you get older, you get sicker. Whether you or your wife or your kids get sicker, then who's gonna pay? You know, like that. See? How many times you heard that thing of the old man, the husband passed away, but the wife and the kids get a little bit of Social Security for the time they work until they go to college or turn 20 or 21, like that.
So how does it work with the retirement here? I mean, they say, like I said, haven't done enough research on it, but they say that after if you retired here and you passed away in 2 years, what happens to your retirement? Does it go to your wife, next to kin?
Well, I thought it would go to the spouse or your kids. But like I said, they got a time allotted. Like the pension I'm getting, this pension, it's only good for 20 years. But if it's less than what I'm getting now, it maybe for 30 years. 30 or 40 years, you know, I can't remember. I remember when they said you can get more, but it's only going to be for 20 years. Well, I'll take that.
So after the 20 years you worked, if you're after the 20 years, all those years you work, you're not gonna no longer get a pension. It's done.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Wow.
After 20 years, the money's gone.
Wow.
So out of this pension, I got to be putting a little bit in the bank. You know, a little bit for disability insurance. This one right here. You know, through Social Security, and a little money for my wants and needs, you know, and property taxes. I pay property taxes and stuff like that. So I gotta divide this money pretty good, you know.
Because you only have what 14 more
14 more years.
14 more years, and
after that, it's gone.
Gone.
I get a little bit of money from Social Security because I worked a long time before I started with Sunbus.
So that advice for me, I started here so young, and I wasn't fortunate enough or understood it enough to say, you know what, I'm not going to invest 30 years of my life here because I'm not going to have a pension. I mean, I'm going to have a pension, but I'm not going to have Social Security. Mm-hmm. So I kind of wasted 25 years of my life, and I'll probably end up, if I don't get my ducks in a row, maybe in a senior complex, making a little bit of money
and trying to survive. Maybe.
Mhm.
do you think?
So I imagine your thoughts. I would imagine like they need like security guards, something like that, something easy going, not physically strong, but you're not that young anymore. You're gonna retire to go to work somewhere else to put money in Social Security. You know, like that. That's why you gotta get a hold of them.
Yeah.
You gotta get a hold of Social Security to ask them those questions, and those are legal, valid questions at Social Security. My answers are just word of mouth. That I fell into this bracket, but thanks to the guys ahead of me, that they told me, you gotta do it like this, do it like that. So we really try all those ways, and it don't come out. See? And how many guys my age, or younger, older, can you talk and do a tape like that you can go to them and ask them that question? How they doing with their pension? Like you said, Ray York that just passed away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the reason why I found out, because I used to hang out with him.
Yeah.
You know, and he would tell me, he said, you know what, Dad? I only have a house phone. I can't even afford a cell phone.
Yeah.
I mean, but he was on a very fixed income.
Yeah.
Because, it's his retirement. So when we retire here at Sunline, we shouldn't have to go get another job.
Yeah.
We paid our dues here. We should be able to retire comfortably and not have to go get another job. I mean, what would be the point of retiring? I mean,
Yeah.
Unless, like you said, trying to build up your Social Security, but we shouldn't have to do that. We should have had it.
Mm-hmm.
So they got rid of it for a quarter raise, of word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
What year was this? Right before?
Jesus. I can't remember. Me and Gilbert started together. It was
Oh, Gilbert's still working.
80, 82, 45. We were like around 87 or 88 when we started.
And they got rid of the Social Security. Did we have PERS back then?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I remember I'm glad that I had a job. And then when they told me, I remember coming in from Desert Hot Springs on the last round, and I ran into two workers, and they said, hey, it's a done deal. What is? Oh, they agreed not to put money in Social Security inside quarter in our pocket. Are you crazy? It was late at night, like 10 o'clock at night. They come out of the boardroom and said they had some wonderful news. I said, man, you crazy? Quarter? Yeah. I said, it ain't gonna work, brother. If you do the history, U.S. history, and talk about President Roosevelt fixing that Social Security like that on his cabinet, his team, so they won't go like doing the Dust Bowl in Oklahoma and stuff like that. Fix it so this country won't go into depression again. You guys ought to look it up, man. Because my grandparents, that's the way they raised me. I raised my grandparents old school, doing errands and chores, working all my life. So they messed up. And they messed it up for everybody. I don't know. We had to ask them, hey, you guys put them on Social Security? Ask them that question. And you guys, team members, do you put money in Social Security? The Riverside, 17 put money in Social Security?